If there, anywhere you can try to feel what our planet was like before humans, it's here. Russia, the Putorana Plateau, an ancient volcanic world, born millions of years ago, and almost untouched by civilization. Canyons, tabletop mountains, thousands of lakes and waterfalls. It all looks as if the Earth here still living by its own rules. It's so wild here that you feel like you are on a real safari. Because of the difficult access, a helicopter flight cost nearly $10,000. And a night at a hotel cost around $1,000. This is a lot world in the heart of Siberia, not assembled to everyone. In summer, the sun doesn't set below the horizon, and for thousands of years, permafrost has made this place almost unreachable. This place is comparable in size to the entire United Kingdom. Its name, Plateau Putorana. We got lucky. The tundra weather is on our side, which means the 3-hour journey by water into the wild will be more or less comfortable. Along the shore, you can see the so-called bullocks. A bullock is basically a small portable cabin, something like a garage, that can be moved from place to place, for example in winter on sled runners. In the distance stands the big 1,000-bed hospital, and behind it low hills disappear into the clouds. I just hope that it's a 3 hour the fog won't roll into thick, and that we'll enter Plateau Putorana in all its raw beauty. And this in the hydroport of the most expensive kind of adventure. A little later, they'll take off from here to pick us up. They'll cover the wild distance in less than an hour, while we still have a long walk to go along the Norilsky River, which slowly flow into Lake Melkoye. By the way, the transfer to Plateau Putorana is not that expensive, just $300 for a private boat. Gradually, the drop relief begins to emerge. The mountains of Plateau Putorana are made up of layers of basalt and tuff, forming a steppe structure known as trap. This is the result of ancient lava flows that shaped the plateau into giant natural stairs. On the horizon you can see a shoreline with some kind of infrastructure. This is the final point. Or rather, the starting point for exploring this wild and insanely beautiful place. Just look at the incredible location of this wooden hotel, standing here with its own fascinating story.
In 1938, architect Usov Avrami Pavlovich Zagovniagin and Kurvantsev, a geologist, arrived here. They were searching for a suitable location for a pioneer camp. They found a very convenient and excellent spot. So the prisoners were left there to harvest timber, but the timber they had to harvest was exclusively larch. You know, they would go high up where there was an abundance of larch trees. They would chop off all the branches, then roll the logs down into the lake, and there they would submerge them. Then they dried this wood, and only then did they begin to build the house for the following year. And when the house was finally completed, well, they came to pick them up, and they said, "We wouldn't have fit on the barge, so we're leaving you food for a week. We'll come back in a week and pick you up." So anyway, they waited and waited, but no one came for them. The freeze-up began. Some stayed here. They had no food, no clothes, no shoes, but to walk to Norilsk. Anyway, they made it across the ice. They made it. One says, "I'm going to go and give myself up." And the other replies, "No, we have a signed document, a written agreement stating that we are not allowed to move beyond 500 meters from this spot." The one who surrendered died, but the house, a very sturdy one, has stood strong for many, many years.
So what makes the Putorana Plateau unique? Let's break it down. A unique lost world in the very heart of Siberia, formed about 252 million years ago, as a result of the supervolcanic eruption. It triggered the Great Permian extinction. The eruption created the second largest basalt plateau in the world. Its entire landscape is made of gigantic steps of solidified lava. Instead of sharp peaks, you see table mountains with perfectly flat tops. Tectonic shifts split the massif apart, forming deep canyons that resemble Norwegian fjords. Putorana has the highest concentration of waterfalls in Russia. From almost every elevation, rivers cascade down. There are more than 25,000 lakes here. The area covers about 250,000 square kilometers. Yet the maximum elevation is only 170.01 meters. The Plateau Putorana is essentially the geographic center of Russia. Only the western edges of the plateau near the large lakes Lama and Keta have been relatively explored, which is exactly where we are right now. Many canyons, lakes and waterfalls are known only from satellite image. To this day there are no precise measurements, even of the tallest waterfall in Russia located here. Why is it still unexplored? There are no roads at all. Access is possible only by helicopter, by water during the short summer season, or by snowmobile in winter. It's hard to imagine anyone conducting research here during the long polar winter, with temperature dropping is minus 15 degrees Celsius in total darkness. The plateau's territory is roughly half the size of France. Despite its status as in UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Putorana Plateau remains largely a mystery, a true terra incognita holding countless potential discoveries. So, what do you think? Do you now understand what kind of cosmic place I managed to visit, and how does logistics work here, electricity, supplies, and how everything is delivered to a hotel in the middle of nowhere? And can you imagine how much a night is this hotel cost? Spoiler, around $1,000.
Hello everyone, my name is Denis. I'm the manager of the Norilsk Park Hotel and the Lama Park Hotel. As we are in the permafrost zone, every year is essentially a new startup for us. When we leave, we winterize everything, and when we return, we de-winterize it all. All the sewage systems, all the networks, everything is winterized. All the water is blown out and everything is taken apart and stored. All the equipment, some of it is transported to Norilsk, 140 kilometers by water, while other parts are stashed away here in warm rooms, the kind that, well, can't withstand the frost, let's say, like some technical gear or certain kitchen equipment. Everything that could freeze, we evacuate completely. And every spring, well, here it's spring, but on the mainland it's summer, we de-winterize everything. We literally have just 2 or 3 days for all of this. All of this is done very quickly because the season is short and the demand is absolutely frantic. We don't have much time, not a lot of time for development. Well, Norilsk, basically, even though we are on the continent, we are actually cut off from the main part of Russia because we have no road connection. To get anything here, we usually plan it a year in advance. Another interesting story, from 41 to 43, Norilsk had a scurvy epidemic. Scurvy is when a person lacks vitamin C in their diet. You couldn't get it anywhere here. There was no connection to the mainland, as we've already mentioned. Vitamin C was unobtainable and there were no fruits at all. And so right here in this very house, a small workshop was set up for the production of coniferous kvass, spruce, well, generally all sorts of different conifer needles. From these, they made kvass concentrate and transported it by planes from here to Norilsk. That's why Norilsk has the Valek hydroport. It was specifically created for that purpose, because from this location, large volumes were transported by aircraft to that area, and the inhabitants of Norilsk were provided with this concentrated plain kvass. And then they managed to overcome scurvy, and the people became healthy.
But we'll talk more about the hotel a little later, during our downtime. Right now, we are heading out to our first location, not far from the hotel. This is where we truly begin our introduction to the wild nature of Taimyr.
We see him in a corner, or, do something bad to the baby. White ones don't fit. We are all reasonable. So, a polar bear is a marine predator. Oh, he lives by the sea, he feeds on seals, he feeds on various sea lions and other similar creatures and carcasses. Yes, and whale carcasses like belugas, which periodically wash up somewhere. Yeah. So if he does make it this far, scientists observe. For example, there was news. A polar bear appeared in Norilsk. Indeed, a female bear. They caught her, tranquilized her with medicine. They look, and she's here, but her paws are fine. And the ocean is 1,000 kilometers from here. Can you imagine walking 1,000 kilometers and not wearing out your paws? Impossible. Consequently, the scientists, the smart ones, conclude that this animal was most likely picked up either by poachers or by well-meaning hunters. When the animal had grown up and started eating like a truly big polar bear, it was no longer financially viable to keep her, so they released her and she came back to the people she knew well. So as food, we are not of interest to him. As competitors, if we were to attack his prey, he would certainly tear us apart, but any sane person has instincts that prevent them from approaching a carcass. A bear is eaten, of course.
And if so, how often?
Well, so last year we encountered quite a few, several times. The year before last we met them and went far because they really approached the camp.
Well, the biggest anyone's here turned out not to a bear, but a mosquito.
Запах я не забуду. Одно из впечатлений, ассоциаций с плато Putorana будет. Запах репеллента.
Ты все, да?
Да хватит, спасибо.
By the way, when it comes of dangerous insects, there are simply none here. No snakes, no ticks, no spiders. The most dangerous animal here might be the wolverine, and even that's far less common than a harmless bear. And this is the place of two waterfalls, our final stop for today. Nature paints here in absolutely unbelievable colors.
Вода здесь чистейшая и очень вкусная, прям вот так нужно пить. Зелени. Крутой вот тут, да, проход? Да. Но зато мы оказываемся в этой красоте.
We'll return to this house closer to the evening. But as you can see, there no real evening here, and there want to be for the next few days. The sun simply never lets. This is polar day. On Tamir, this astronomical phenomenon lasts for about 68 days, from May 18 to July 25. During this time, the sun makes a full circle across the sky without dipping below the horizon. So technically, you can film here the long they want. As long as you want. Alright, let's continue our conversation with the hotel manager.
Right now we are at the Lame Park Hotel. This is a historic building. Its construction began in 1939. Prisoners from the Norilsk camp were brought here to build this house, intended as a home for the plant workers' children. It was built by Czechs, essentially. And at one point when it was being handed over, there was a funny situation. Simultaneously, this house hosted vacationing children and prisoners who were building, completing and maintaining it. The house was finished in 1944, and literally since then, its doors have been wide open, welcoming guests. For the past couple of years, it's been under renovation. The house is built from large logs, and it's a very strong wood, built to last for centuries. It's not prone to rot. They were brought from the opposite side of Lake Lama. This nearby, a little closer to the water, there was a small stable where horses lived, and in winter these horses would drag these enormous logs across the ice from that side. A pile foundation has been built right here. We are currently located just outside Norilsk, and this entire area has permafrost. The ground beneath us is completely frozen. They had to drive in deep piles. This house is built on a pile foundation, with the piles driven right into the permafrost. Because of this, the structure sometimes shifts a little bit geometrically, moving back and forth when all of this thaws out during the summer.
And you can see some of the imperfections. Everything you see here, these walls are historical.
We've only added a few elements. Our designers have incorporated some new light fixtures, but even these are all in a vintage style, so as not to disturb the original concept envisioned by the architects who initially planned everything here. For accommodation, we have standard comfort and suite rooms available. Rooms with shared bathrooms on the floor, rooms with ensuite bathrooms, sorry for the tautology, and two-room suites with a magnificent view, luxury rooms. We also organize meals for our guests here. We have our own cafe, a kitchen with a focus on local specialties and local products. Well, the entire next year is already booked. This place is unique, it's not definitely exclusive. Few people know it, but that's enough for us now. There aren't many hotels here, so our occupancy is practically 100%. Thus, we have a very short operational period. We work only 72 to 75 days a year. It's July, August, and the beginning of September. For all the rest of the year, the hotels are closed because of the permanent permafrost, and it's extremely difficult to get here, and there are no facilities to organize a comfortable stay for guests.
In the 1970s, the plateau became a site for underground nuclear explosions. On September 29, 1975, and again 2 years later, explosions were carried out depths of 800 meters to create underground gas storage facilities. Later, a dam formed on the site of the drilling settlement. Although, according to available data, radiation levels were not exceeded. By the way, the hotel also has a traditional Russian sauna, and what is an incredible access to the lake. It's a perfect time to head out onto Lake Lama, surrounded by mesmerizing landscapes. No commentary, no, just relax and enjoy. Okay, maybe just a little commentary. They say seeing the many waterfalls in this time of year is cute, rare. But show caps in July are completely normal here. I can only imagine how beautiful it must be in winter. It's a pity there's no access to see it. We docked at an incredibly wild spot. There is basically no pier here at all. We climbed a bit higher, and I lodged no one, but two drones to explore the area. Allows with one of them. This happened. Whew, the ground is soft here, so the birds is totally fine. These little stone piles are for some very cute animals, which unfortunately didn't show up. Looks like they were scared off by the dog. Far from here, there is also an incredible place. You could even call it a separate village called Nerolach. It's a beautiful, fully equipped retreat in the middle of the wilderness. Here are the prices per night. First line, standard room for 1 or 2 people from $1,000 to $120 per night. Second line, from $819 to $950 per night. Suite, from $1,140 to $1,200 per night. Two-story luxury suite from $1,620 to $1,730 per
На
night.
плато Путорана мы на 3 дня приехали, на семью из 3 человек. Ну, ориентировочная стоимость там 1 300 000. Ну, дороже можно приехать, если вертолет заказать. Мы не на вертолете, мы на корабле.
There it is, the long-awaited one. It makes an honorary circle above us, and to our huge relief, it actually came for us. By the way, a helicopter flight from the Walok hydroport. You saw it at the beginning of the video. To the village of Nerolach cost around $90,900, and if it's just a one-day trip without accommodation, including visit to their waterfalls, the price goes up to about $25,500. Well, if the weather cooperates. The pilot performed a full series of system checks. Using the collective control, the pilot generated as he smoothly pulled it up. The angle of all rotors blades changed simultaneously. The lift force exceeded the helicopter's weight, and we lifted off the ground, beginning a vertical climb. Soon, the helicopter transited into horizontal flight, surrounded by the cosmic landscapes of the trap basalt formations. I still can't believe my first helicopter flight happened in the Arctic zone, in such a wild and unbelievable beautiful place. It's a bit sad we couldn't spot any wildlife from the air, but one thing becomes obvious: the Putorana Plateau truly has the highest number of waterfalls in Russia. The flight feels almost like being on a plane, except during landing, when the sensations are completely different. There it is, Kitabo Oron, also known as the Great Irkudinsky waterfall on the Irkindra river. The waterfall drops 27 meters, absolutely epic, and there is even a rainbow forming in the mist. Civilization had not dared to touch this untouched land. This place feels alive, breathe pure wilderness. If only a couple of bears can round out, that would have been the ultimate moment. But unfortunately we didn't see any. Seems like they are scared of the helicopter.
But here, see, it's all beautiful. Everything changes differently each year. Here, ice shifts, altering the terrain, the landscape. New islands appear, while old ones, once Soviet, are gone. I'll tell you, the Russian far north is extremely challenging for life.
Very low temperatures. We practically only have 3-4 months of summer a year. Well, summer is just a term, meaning spring and the beginning of autumn. That's 3-4 months. This means severe frosts. Time here also means strong winds. And of course, the polar night. So from mid-December,
the 16th of October marks the start of polar night. For roughly 60 days, the sun is entirely gone. Here, it's polar night, night flights, it's frosts, freezing fog, snow whirlwinds. All of this impacts the weather. I just, can say that, the phrase, in inner Moscow, you can also find much beauty and interest, things you didn't see before.
if a person is truly conscientious and attuned to this beauty, he will see beauty even where he lives and passes by every single day.
Putorana is absolutely honesty. There are not fake beauties here, no easy pass. The price is measured not only thousands of dollars, but also in the difficulty of the journey. And that is the cost of authenticity. For the change to see the world the way it was before us. A rainbow above the Irkudinsky waterfall, the endless polar day, the ringing silence broken only by the roar of water. No, of this is decoration. This is the real life of the planet. As they flew away, I felt gratitude for being allowed, even for a brief moment, to touch this miracle of our planet. And now I know this somewhere out there, in the very heart of Siberia, there is a place where nature still remembers now to be in charge. A reminder of what our planet can be, untouched, majestic and infinitely beautiful.